Hey everybody, so my new Unfolded Circle Remote 3 arrived yesterday. You may have caught my unboxing video last night, but I didn't have time last night to program it, and that's what I'm going to be doing today in this video. Before I get started, I just want to clear up a couple of things, a couple of questions folks have had about the unboxing video, because I did plug it in, connect it, and I set like the region and connected it to the Wi-Fi. Yes, the on-screen keyboard is very tiny, and it looked really awkward in that video, but I can say that once I picked it up and worked with it like you normally would if you weren't recording a video. Remember, I was trying to do that by reaching over with my right hand to the remote, which was off to the left of me, and there was a camera in the way. So it really isn't as finicky as it may have looked in that video. The screen itself, it's tiny, and I've got fat fingers and even fatter thumbs, but once you're holding it correctly, it was actually really precise and nice and accurate, and it wasn't that big of a hassle to deal with. That was the part you saw me doing off camera in a way where I could actually get centered on it and look at it. And that's also very, really the only thing you have to get done on that is getting it connected to the Wi-Fi, because everything from there you could do. You can even, if you just type in random country and random country time zone, you can change that all in the web interface once it's connected to the Wi-Fi. You just have to get it on the network, and then everything you need to do to it can be done in the web browser interface. So that's all right. The other thing people are noticing is that when I was trying to connect the dock to the Wi-Fi, it failed. And you see me in the video then switching over and connecting it via Ethernet. So the remote itself is compatible. It's 5G, 5 gigahertz wireless network compatible. The dock is only 2.4 gigahertz compatible. So what you saw was the remote, I logged it onto the 5 gigahertz network, because why wouldn't I? And then I tried to use that to move the settings into the dock, which I would have had to move the remote to the 2.4 gigahertz network, and then the dock would pick up those settings, and then I can move the remote back. But I have every intention of running this connected with the dock connected via Ethernet. So I just didn't bother going through that hassle in the video. But that's what it was. It wasn't a failure or an error with the dock, other than the fact that I would have needed to connect the remote to my other network. So that was not a thing. One quick tip or a couple quick tips before I get started on configuring this. The best way to do this is at a computer with the remote in the dock connected to power. When you're configuring this with the web interface, you're not configuring it in a cloud and then having it download directly to the remote. You're actually controlling the remote hardware, and you're configuring it directly on the remote. There is no cloud connection in that sense of the word. It's not like Harmony, where you do it all in the app and then it sends it through your cloud account to the remote or to the hub. This is working directly on the remote. So if the remote goes to sleep, your browser loses connection and you think there's something wrong. It's not. It's just a matter of when you're configuring this, put it in the dock and let it sit there. There's nothing you need to do on the remote until you're done programming it on here anyway. So just leave it in the dock and keep it awake, keep it on power, so that you don't lose your connection and lose progress. The other thing too is just, when I got the remote too, I struggled a little bit getting it configured, and it was confusing to me. And it's since become really not confusing at all. It's very intuitive once you understand kind of the process and the concept. So what I recommend is make a list of all of your devices that you want the remote to control, and seek out integrations for those remotes first. If you have Home Assistant, you can use Home Assistant integration to get it into the remote. That's going to be much better than using IR, because that way the remote can theoretically pull the status of that and make sure, you know, with IR, you're zapping a command into the air in the room and hoping the receiver gets it. With an integration, it's theoretically kind of that two-way communication. So the device, you know, publishes or transmits its current status, and the remote can see, oh, it didn't actually get that last command. Or anyway, you can if an activity goes and something misses its command, you can actually just fix the state of that with an integration. It's what I'm trying to say in my non-technical, non-programmer language is integrations are the ideal situation, and then an IR device is kind of a backup for anything that doesn't have a direct integration. Having used integrations within Home Assistant and bringing those over to the remote versus native integrations that are running directly on the remote without Home Assistant, I can say that running them natively on the remote is preferable, but the Home Assistant stuff works really well. It can involve a little extra work getting it set up and ready to go. So yeah, with that, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get started here. I'm going to add some of my main devices and figure out how exactly I'm going to do this. Theoretically, I could back up my Remote 2 and simply restore that backup onto the Remote 3 and go from there, but I wanted a chance to just, you know, start clean and just kind of get a fresh start, clean it up, get rid of some of the old entities and things that I'm not using on the remote, and just not that daily use gets any more cluttered if you have all that stuff still in there, but reconfiguring and reprogramming or tweaking your programming can get a little messy when there's a lot of extra unused entities in there. So I'm going to start from scratch, and from there, from right now, I'm just going to go ahead and flip over and record my screen now, so you don't have to look at me anymore. All right. Okay, so here we are. This is the web interface. This is the beta software. This is what's going to come installed on your Remote 3. We're looking at my Remote 2. You can see that it doesn't have the extra hardware, the extra buttons, but it does already have everything that I've done built into here. And so you can see where I've already programmed that. I'm just keeping this open in case I need to check it for reference. So here we are. This is what's, once you're gonna go to use the QR code on the screen of the remote to get to this. It's gonna have the URL for the remote web interface is going to get you to this. So for mine, it's Remote 3 Bobby 8 local. So enter the PIN that it gives you on the screen with the QR code, and now we are here. So you can see this is the updated hardware. There is currently nothing at all on here. So going in here, I mentioned you can go back and change that stuff that you're entering on the screen. You can do that here without any issue at all. You can move it to a different Wi-Fi network. You can change your password so that you can remember it easier to log in. Adjust the display settings, brightness, button backlight. You can change the color to whatever you might want on there. So yeah, typical device settings. So let's get started. I'm going to start with integrations. I know that I have some integrations that I've been working with, and what I'm going to do is for this video, I'm going to start off getting my Kaleidescape activity, getting it all set up. So that's going to involve a JVC projector, a Lumagen Radiance Pro, the Kaleidescape itself, and a Storm Audio ISR Fusion 20 AVR. And that is going to be the devices that I'm programming into this. It does allow me to bring my lights in here and everything, but I've got Home Assistant controlling those. And I have a lot of already animations or automations and scenes configured in Home Assistant, and for me there's no reason to bring them out of there. I like having those in Home Assistant so that if I if this remote is maybe the battery died or it's across the room and I have the Kaleidescape remote handy, if I hit pause on the Kaleidescape or stop on the Kaleidescape remote, Home Assistant is still going to see that, and it's still going to adjust my lighting settings accordingly. It's not remote dependent like configuring a macro or configuring it all in one remote might be. It makes it, if I open up the Kaleidescape app and start playing a movie, Home Assistant will see that and bring the lights down. Whereas if I had the lights and everything on the remote, it wouldn't see that, the Kaleidescape is playing, we need to turn the lights out. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It keeps everything a little cleaner, keeps automation in one device and control in another. So integrations, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a custom integration. There's some folks who've been creating some custom integrations for the unfolded circle remotes, and it's really makes it much more powerful. The Kaleidescape remote and the Kaleidescape integration and the Lumagen integration are done by a fellow named John Carey, and he doesn't even have the remotes. He doesn't have his remote. He didn't have the remote 2 and doesn't have his remote 3 yet. He's just been building these based on his own knowledge and using the simulator, and I've been kind of testing them for him. So the Kaleidescape integration is pretty much good to go. The Lumagen still, it was working, and an update may have tweaked a couple of the control settings, so that one's not quite perfect yet, but it is it can be there because it's been there, so we just need to get it updated. So these are the first time you run that setup, you're installing it, and then you go through the setup again, and now you'll see the second time that I go through here, it's kind of pulling the same information, but now you're going to see these are the entities. So these are the media player is kind of what reports back what is playing. That's what's going to put your movie artwork on the display of the remote. The remote contains all of the commands to operate the Kaleidescape. And then these three are also sensors. The media location will tell you, the Kaleidescape encodes things like play, stop, end credits, so you can control an animation, a lighting automation based on, the end credits have started, wait 10 seconds and slowly bring my lights up like in a movie theater. So play speed and play status, they're all just sensors off the Kaleidescape. This check mark here, I'm going to do that. It's going to select all of them, and I'm going to add them. So now we're all set with the Kaleidescape. And I was kind of talking about other stuff when I went through that, so I'm going to be more explanation oriented during this one. So for add new, I'm going to again install a custom, and there's a Discord server that has kind of a list and links to a lot of these custom integrations. The Lumagen and Kaleidescape aren't there quite yet because he wants to be able to test them himself on his own device before he puts them out there for the community, but I have access to them through GitHub, and they're all going to come through GitHub as well. And then there's one for the JVC projector that I haven't actually tried yet from a different developer, but that's listed in the Unfolded Circle community integrations directory, which I also only know of through the Discord server. So anyway, I've already downloaded these integrations from GitHub, and I'm just going to click Browse, and I'm going to go to the Lumagen integration, and that's the tar.gz package. So I'm going to select that one. I'm going to upload it. And this is basically putting it onto the remote itself. It's taking it out of my downloads and onto the remote. So we just wait a moment while this happens. So basically what I want to do is I want to get all my devices installed and kind of ready to go. And then from there, I'm going to start configuring them into the activity, which is where you really start to customize the remote. So the Lumagen Radiance Pro, we're going to click Next. And we just wait while it, basically, I think what it's doing here is unpacking that zip archive and putting things in place. It's detected my Lumagen, this requires the global cache IP to serial control device, because the Lumagens all just have an RS-232 serial connector for control. I don't know how this would act with using the new the Remote 3's included RS-232 compatibility, but for now I'm going to do it the way that I know how to do it. So you can see now it's installed, and now we're going to start setup. And I could do it manually, but I've never had a problem with it automatically identifying the device on my network and configuring it. It finds it and configures things just perfect on its own. So again, it's discovered it. And now the second time through, we see the entities. The media player from the Radiance Pro, I haven't found a use for that yet, but the remote is what we need. But either way, for now, I'm going to just add them both. There we go. So this one also, you see it doesn't have artwork. You can create your own artwork. I have a whole folder full of logos, and this is the one I've been using for the Lumagen. And so now you will see the Lumagen Radiance Pro is identified by that. Now I also want to add that to the remote. And we've been messing around. See, before he created the unfolded circle custom integration, he had also created a Home Assistant integration for the Radiance Pro for the Lumagen. And when we got into it and started looking at all the entities, it was hard to determine which ones were the Home Assistant integration and which ones were the Radiant or the direct integration. So I am going to add that logo here as well. I'm going to leave this to indicate, because it makes it very clear that this is the media player. The musical note is a media player. That puzzle piece is an integration. But that being said, he's also at least temporarily added integration to the name of the device in here. But I can also remove that if I want. I didn't want to, though, for now. But you can rename all this stuff however you like. So there we go. Now what I also need, and this is the one I haven't tested yet, so I'm going to just give this a shot. This is the custom integration, and I'm not saying I doubt this developer at all, and it's not John Kerry, it's another guy this is Jack Powell, and he's done a lot of stuff, and he's done a lot of really solid work for the remote. So I have no doubt that this works just fine. But like I said, I don't know what to expect during the configuration of this particular integration. So we will see. This one's new to me as well. So there it is. Okay, so I need to, for this one, I would need to set the JVC NZ700, the IP address. I am going to do this. Talk amongst yourselves while I grab the IP address out of my router. I also honestly can't say for sure if I'm going to remember the password that I put in there as well, but we'll see. This is 192.168.50.35. I think that might be it. Let's see if it works. I also don't know if the projector needs to be on to do this. Yeah, I bet the projector needs to be on, and I bet I need to get the proper password for it as well. So I'm going to do, let's see. Next is add new integration. Now, okay, I'm going to go back here. So these are my custom integrations. But now there's a home assistant integration. So I'm going to go to add new integration. And this is where you're going to find installed integrations, but also the stock integrations that are delivered inside of the remote's operating system or alongside it. These come pre-installed is essentially what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to install Home Assistant, and I need to get my access token, which might take me a while. This is not my strong suit. I am video guy and not programmer guy. So just also so you know, you need to run the for the Home Assistant to work in both directions, you need to also install the unfolded circle integration into Home Assistant as well. So we'll get to this in a moment. But first I need to figure out where that token lives. Okay. Browser settings. Security. Long-lived access token. We're going to create a new one. UC remote 3. We'll copy it. We'll go back to here. Paste it. There we go. This is all that advanced stuff that I probably shouldn't have bothered. Cool. We'll leave those all at the Okay. Start setup. There. Okay. So here, there's going to be a lot more entities in the Home Assistant, because this has all my stuff in here. Like, look here, these are lighting scenes for that are movie specific triggers. And the Lumagen, these are the commands for the Lumagen that come from the Home Assistant integration. So let's see here. These are lighting scenes. I do want these lighting scenes because I like having these 3 basic scenes easily added based on a button. I want to assign those to a custom button so I can quick get to them without having to trigger an automation. Let me look here. Got that. So let's go back to settings, devices. Wait, what was I going to look up? JVC. So some of these, I also have things that have worked really well that I want to maintain. So JVC projector entities, JVC projector. Device, no. Sometimes I love Home Assistant and sometimes I despise it. Let's see here. Let's go here. JVC, yeah, okay. So projector power on, I want. We're going to use these until I get that other integration configured and working. So I'm going to just bring these in. These will turn the projector on and it will turn it off. The Lumagen on and off. The Lumagen unfolded circle integration, it has worked and it will work, but there are a couple of commands in there that have been broken based on an update. So I am going to bring a few of the Lumagen commands, but these, well, yeah, these are buttons. I'm going to bring on, off, to lock, there, and then up, down, left, right. There's not an exit. There's not a ton of stuff. So these are, again, different scripts. These are button presses. So then I've got, let's see. Kaleidescape, shouldn't need any of that. Lumagen lock. And we can always come back and add more of these in if we get to building an activity and customizing the remote and realize, oh, I'd like to be able to pull that up based on a button. We can come back to the Home Assistant and bring in more of the entities that we're looking for. So this is the Apple TV stuff. I may or may not bring that in later. These are Kaleidescape things that I'm not going to bother bringing in because I have that custom integration now. These are Philips Hue lighting things that I'm not going to mess with. Those are just in there because these are my phone. The iPad, the more Kaleidescape stuff, more automation stuff for lighting, more of my phone, more of the iPad, Kaleidescape, more Kaleidescape sensors, more lighting stuff, light that I don't have anymore or don't use anymore, more lighting stuff. Let's see. See, there's a lot in here. So, let's see. Lumagen, more stuff. iPad, Kaleidescape, theater. I'm not going to do that. More lighting. Lighting scenes, automation. There's also stuff in here that is coming in from HomeKit, from the Philips Hue lighting, from various other things that used to exist that don't, more Kaleidescape sensors. And it does seem like I'm starting to go in a bit of a loop, which is kind of annoying. You're never quite sure when you've gotten to the bottom of the list, but we're just going to add these. Okay. So now, again, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to add the custom Home Assistant so we kind of know where stuff is coming from. I don't know why. Home Assistant, I don't know why it lost that, but we'll do that. Okay, so the other thing too is like theater welcome. Okay, what is this? This is lighting. It'll show you right here. If you just, again, click on this edit icon, and it will bring up more details about the entity. So, welcome lighting. Let's do theater. No. Welcome. No. Marquee. No. So what do I have that set? Well, I'll just do this. I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to look at my user interface and go to the lighting. So this one, okay, so I've got welcome is the light bulb, intermission, which is a really dim light, is the flashlight, and then light off. So we'll just use the same ones. So light bulb on. Okay. And play. This one is actually, this is the light bulb off. Okay. And intermission, this is the flashlight. There we go. JVC projector power on, off, Lumagen power on, off. So these are all things that can be assigned to buttons once we get to, once we start building the activity. Home Assistant. You know what? I also need, see if it's still there. It says, I need the Storm audio stuff here. So start setup. Okay. Oh, I just clicked the add. No. Oh, entities. Add new. Home Assistant. Add available entities. No. Well, this is interesting. Might need to delete this, start it over. I'm going to turn on the Storm just to make everything available. Let's wait for that to power up. So what else do we need? We have the Kaleidescape as the source, and that goes to the Storm. That goes to the Lumagen, and that goes to the JVC. Home Assistant will automate the lighting. So yeah, I just need to get the Home Assistant thing cleared up. The nice thing is once most of these are in there, it's just a matter of adding another source. And I'm not adding Apple TV quite yet, just because it requires everything to be powered on and the projector and everything, so I can pull the pin codes off of the whatchamacallit. So I'm back over into my remote 2. Yeah, see, that's being controlled by, or provided by Home Assistant. So that's what I need to bring over. So okay. The Storm is powered up. I'm going to add a new integration. It's a Home Assistant. I'm going to add that. Okay, we're all set. Done. Home Assistant, start setup. Now I get, let's just search here. Storm Audio ISR Fusion, there we go. Did I have, yeah, that's it, just the media player. No, what's this one? Oh, this is some IR stuff, I bet. Storm Audio ISR Fusion. The Storm Audio Home Assistant integration was causing a few volume issues / concerns, so I also learned a bunch of stuff with IR and programmed that in. Okay, so it's there. Okay, so what else did I have? I wanted these 3 lighting scenes. The JVC projector power. Some Lumagen things temporarily. Lock, OK, menu, exit, up, down, left, right. The Lumagen controls my aspect ratio settings for my CinemaScope aspect ratio screen, so it does scaling. And for movies like Top Gun Maverick that have variable aspect ratios, I like having this lock button really just quickly available so that I can turn off the aspect ratio switching and just lock it in. Okay, so we have those. See, this is why getting in and setting up custom making icons can be a godsend for these types of things. It also let's see, what else? I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted here. So I've got the, let's go to entities. So I don't need those. Oh, I got those. I've got welcome, play, Barbie, intermission, lock, okay. Menu, all the Lumagen stuff, pause lighting, movie lighting, Kscape, Lumagen, Apple TV stuff. Apple TV. Oh. Need the K menu. Okay, so go back here, K menu. Let's just do this. Top. Nope. This is also why the more direct, okay, what was that button called? Covers, maybe. The more integrations you can find that install directly to the remote versus going through Home Assistant, the less convoluted it gets, because then when you're looking at something to determine, is this the one that I want? What do I need out of here? It's much more, it's much easier to see where you're going. Okay, here's the Storm Audio ISR Fusion. So custom, upload, back to my logos, Storm Audio. Okay. I'm going to leave, because these are all Home Assistant, I'm going to leave them for now. Okay, so now we can turn the projector on, we can turn the storm on. Entities, yep, here's all my entities. Okay, so I should theoretically have everything I need in here to build my first activity. Okay, so I could just go up here and add new. I can click here and add new, but we're going to call this watch Kaleidescape. And we're going to, again, add, I have a different Kaleidescape icon I want to use. These icons, the custom ones that I'm uploading here, these are 90 by 90 PNG files with an alpha channel to make them look better, so they just live over the black background. So I need the storm. I'm just going to add all of these. On other screens it has a select all button, but this one it doesn't. Either way, it's not that many. So okay, now I've got all the remotes. Let's watch Kaleidescape. So now you have 4 tabs up here. Sequences, this is where you do your on sequence, your off sequence. The user interface is where you customize what the screen itself looks like. And you can add multiple screens that you can swipe between. And then the button mapping stays the same throughout the activity. So this is where you program the physical buttons. I'm going to do a couple quick things here. I'm going to do my theater welcome, which was the flashlight. No, it wasn't. Theater welcome was the light bulb on. Okay, just to again keep things a little bit more easy to look and see. And what is this? Theater play is the light bulb off. Theater intermission, this was the flashlight. Okay, so again, on the left, this is the custom icon that you set. On the right of your entities, this is what is providing this entity. So if you click on theater intermission, here's that, and it's being provided by Home Assistant. It'll also tell you down here what it is. Theater intermission is a scene in my Home Assistant. It's a lighting configuration. that I want to be able to control within here. So the first thing I'm going to do is create my off or on sequence. So the first thing I want to do is turn the JVC projector on. So, oops. So power, JVC projector power on. Now, normally, I would, the next step be turning the Lumagen power on, because that is my video processor that goes right before the projector. However, I have a script or an automation or whatever you want to call it. It's basically whenever Home Assistant sees the projector turning on, it automatically turns the Lumagen on. So I don't need to necessarily send that, or I don't want to send that command in the sequence. I want to just let it automate, because I'll never be using the projector without the Lumagen, and I'll never use the Lumagen without the projector. So they're basically tied together in Home Assistant, so I don't need to put that in the power on sequence. The next thing I want to do is to turn the, see, I could do that, but I'm not going to. Theater media player. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's go back here. Activities here, settings, theater. Okay, these three that are being provided by Home Assistant that start with theater, these are lighting scenes. However, my Kaleidescape player is also internally, it's called theater. I don't have any other in the house, but this one's located in the theater, so it's called theater. And you can see that that is the theater media player being provided by Kaleidescape. So I'm actually going to change this to one of these nice custom entities just to make it bigger, make it easier to tell. This is the media player provided by the Radiance Pro. Don't know that we'll ever, I don't think it provides one, but I'm just going to put this on there anyway, just to help make it more obvious. Theater remote. Again, this is the Kaleidescape theater remote. So I'm just, these are sensors, theater media player. So this is the Kaleidescape. And for whatever reason, it's not showing up there. Oh, anyway. Let's go back to the sequences. So after the projector's on, we want to turn on the Kaleidescape, which is theater media player. And I could rename theater media player as well. I could just go back here to theater media player, edit, and call this Kaleidescape. And now it's the Kaleidescape media player. And that icon has updated already as well. Just to make sure, I'm going to re-add that. Power, Kaleidescape media player. See, there we go. What else do we need? We need the Storm Audio. Storm Audio, switch on. And then what we want to do is we want to change the input on the Storm Audio to the Kaleidescape. So the input source, this is a function of that Storm Audio media player. That is basically, this is the media player. So this allows us to select the source. It allows, there's a zone 2, but I don't have a zone 2. It's got the power, it's got the volume level. I'm not sure what this one is. But preset, I don't need that in there because the Storm knows to, when I select Kaleidescape, it knows to bring up, that's the wrong remote. It knows to bring up the proper preset for the Durac art setting and things like that. So this should really be everything, but I'm going to add a delay just to give the storm a chance to turn on before we start sending it a command. So I'm going to move that up before. So it's going to power it up, and then it's going to wait, and then it's going to select the input source. How long did I have to have those over here? Yeah, 1,000. So I also, also want to add a delay here just to make sure that everything has a chance to get powered up. And I turn the theater on before I come downstairs and let it warm up anyway. So adding some delays in there is not a big deal. And now, so that should do that, right? On input source. I bet that's going to break this because I just renamed it in there. Never mind. Okay, off. So now we're going to do power JVC projector off, and the storm switch off, and the Kaleidescape. These are questionable which one of these will work. That's one thing that we still need to look at, is which of these switch off, switch on is working. Switch off, switch on. Right. See, this is where there's a lot of there's Home Assistant stuff, there's integration things, and there are several things that the Kaleidescape is just kind of putting in there, and it's a matter of finding the right one. So switch on Kaleidescape and switch off Kaleidescape. I might need to go back here and figure out which these are. Switch on. Entities. Switch. Nope. Let's go back to the Kaleidescape. Let's look for switch on. See, this is exactly what I was hoping to avoid by not just duplicating my previous installation, but things are named differently. So activities and macros here. Kaleidescape Theater. Let's go to here. See, I can't select this and see which one this is. So I have to figure out Kaleidescape. Okay, so what I'm using here appears like it might actually be an IR command, which I would need to export or relearn. Let's see. I mean, the easiest way to do this would be to test it. So I'm going to just go here. I'm going to add. The first thing I always want to add is the media widget. But here's where I'm going to do something today, but then I'm going to change it later. The little slider here, the way to get that to work is you have to, this slider at the moment is only going to be tied to the media player of whatever lives up here as your main media player. Because it's only volume, I need that to be the storm audio. So I'm going to do that, and now the slider will control the volume of the storm audio. But the storm audio does not have any of this information, so this would just show up as a big empty, I'm just dragging the corner there. This would just show up as a big black space on there, and that's kind of boring on your remote. So, but that's the only way to get the slider to work as volume, is to set the media player entity to whatever is controlling your volume. So like I said, this is something that once they give me the ability to custom program the slider for the storm audio, I'll change this. I'll change it back. But for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it for the Kaleidescape media player, because I know that works. And now this will display movie artwork. And I have to think here. New buttons will allow me just to make this full screen. This just makes for a nice, nice looking remote. So now, what do I have? Second page on the, I'm trying to also not throw myself out too much. So I've got watch, Kaleidescape, Lumagen controls, and lighting. So you can also see here on my current home screen, I have a stop and a play and a menu button, only because there wasn't a stop button down here. There wasn't a good button to use for menu, so I just put them on the screen. We now have a stop button. Let's do these first. Let's do these, since these will be, these are going to be the same throughout the entire thing. So back, I'm going to decide what to do with that. Home, I leave this untouched because that takes me to the home screen of the remote, so I can flip to a different activity or something to that effect. Power, I leave this because that will now turn the entire system off and shut everything down. You can customize it if you want, but I don't want. So volume, storm audio, volume up, volume down, storm audio. Okay, and it's just really this simple. Up, we want this to be up, and this is going to be the Kaleidescape media player. Actually, I'm going to use the theater remote. This is also provided by the Kaleidescape integration, but it has a specific remote built into it. So up, left is the theater remote. OK is enter, select. Yeah. Everyone uses different language for that middle button. So this is right. This is down. Channel up and channel down, I don't ever really use anything. This is going to be mute on the Storm Audio ISR Fusion. Menu, this I want to be the covers. This takes me to a different menu of the Kaleidescape system. Voice, don't want it. Previous, this is going to be back. No, previous. I want the theater remote. Yeah, there we go. Stop from the theater remote. So these are all going to just be transport controls for the Kaleidescape. It didn't take that one for some reason. Every once in a while it doesn't take a command. Just try it again and it'll go. It's very rare. So play, theater remote, play, pause, theater remote, or play. I'm going to do this one. I'm not sure which one is which, but it's very easy to come back and change if I need to later on. Next on the theater remote. Okay, so now my buttons are programmed. These longer pill-shaped things, I could set a long press command, but I'm not going to bother with that today because I generally have plenty of buttons. I don't do a whole lot of this and that and the other thing on the remote itself. I like to sit down and watch a movie, so I'm not generally doing a lot of remoting. Once I'm able to select what I want to watch and hit play, I kind of set the remote down until it's over. So now I'm basically, by doing this, I'm creating another page. Yeah, there. I didn't take my name change, but I'm going to call this one Lumagen, because this is going to be accessible by swiping, and it's going to give me access to more specific Lumagen commands. And what I do on this one is, because this is locked to the Kaleidescape transport stuff and menu navigation, I have to recreate it up here, but we just do that. So here, I'm going to add an icon button, and it's going to be up on the Lumagen, but are we looking for capitals or are we looking for capital letters are working? Okay, so we're going to go the caps, icon is up, and I'll use this one. There's 3 buttons here. I don't really dig this a whole lot, but it is what it is. I think this is what helps them do this on a phone or a mobile device, an iPad. But like, if you select move, then I can move this button to any other place in here. I can resize the grid if I want to have more buttons, more options, and smaller or fewer, bigger. In fact, let's do this, because I don't have a ton of stuff for this remote. So let's do it this way. So now, but edit gives us this stuff. Select allows you to select multiple to delete them or copy them to a different activity. That's another nice, more recent feature. You can copy things and move them from page to page. So this was left, and we wanted caps, and here, and we're going to go left, and that was this. There we go. No, okay, so see, that should have been down, but I can just do this and move it where left is going to be. And now we'll go down, and we want this one, and we'll change the icon to the down arrow. And this is how you're customizing your whole interface. It's really, it can be, it's not rocket science. When you're first setting it up, it can get a little time consuming. It's actually, it's not as bad as it was, because I can copy all this stuff over to other pages. But enter OK is always one that's tough to find a good let's use that. There's not a good button for that. What else did I have on here? I had menu, exit, hot plug, and some of those. Okay. How many of those did I have? I had 4. Maybe that's why it was better to have 4. Actually, I'm going to do that. See, I'm going to add that row back, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to call this, actually, I'm going to do that an icon too. So menu in there, and I'm going to make this menu. No, I'll just use, I'll use that. That'll work. That looks good. And this is going to be exit. And I don't have to keep these pages specific to a certain device or that. I can make them literally whatever I want to be. I can have, I could add a lighting control here. I could add another media widget here. I could add volume. This screen doesn't need to be all Lumagen commands, is what I'm getting at. So now I've got, we're calling, this is a command that I created that basically just moves it switches the Lumagen from one input and then it switches it back. And this is used to, if it doesn't sync up with the projector or the source properly, I just click that and 10 seconds later forces an HDMI resync. So this, I want this to be 4 wide. I could do it here by clicking it out to 4. I can also resize it by just dragging that corner. So I'm just going to do that. And now, what order did I go? I went scope to 16. So these are locking direct aspect ratios in the Lumagen. So again, it will auto sense the input signals aspect ratio and lock, and it will do that. If for whatever reason I'm hitting a spot where it's maybe jumping back and forth, or it's not sensing the right aspect ratio because the programming has bad black levels, I can just lock it to something here. So this would be 1.85. And I can basically tell it, stop with the auto aspect ratio, and just lock it at this specific aspect ratio. I can do it to about anything. These are kind of the main aspect ratios we see. But the Lumagen, I can tell it any aspect ratio and it will lock to it. These are just the ones I want quick access to. It's a very handy feature. Again, for Top Gun, I can just lock it to scope. For other stuff, old content often has bad black levels, so the Lumagen can't really see the letterboxing area or the pillar boxing, and it won't quite lock into the right one. A lot of times it'll just lock in at default for 16:9, even though the content's actually 185 or something like that. So you can just kind of manually tell it, and then it knows that when the HDMI input signal is broken, and like when you hit stop and it's going back to the menu, it's like, oh, that's over. We're going to automatically change it back to auto aspect ratio. Really cool. Invaluable when you're dealing with a screen like what I have back there that is it's not a 16 by 9 screen. It's a 2.40 aspect ratio screen, and it has masking and all that stuff. So I need to actually do that better. Lighting. So yeah, you can see here, I can copy this entire menu page. Like for that Lumagen page that I just built, never have to build it again, because I can just go here, copy it, and then I can paste it into another activity without having to rebuild it. So that's really handy. Okay, so lighting. And these, I just want, this is just 3, right? Yep, 3 big buttons. So I'm going to do an icon button, and this will be welcome. And the icon, again, will be the light bulb. This one. Wait, was there a light bulb on? Yeah, there we go. No. Light bulb on. There. Okay. And again, I'm just going to make it bigger. And I'm going to do another icon. And this is going to be intermission. This is the very dim lighting. So this is the flashlight, so you can see your way around there, and make it bigger. And this will be icon, and this is movie lighting. Forgot what it's called. Oh, theater play. Maybe not the best name, but it made sense when I did it, because in Home Assistant I have lighting commands or settings for a lot of different areas of the house. And so this is saying this is lighting in the theater for when I press play. Let's see if that's stuck. I got that error. Yep. Okay. There we go. So there is my activity. Buttons are mapped. These stay the same regardless of what page is on the interface. Sequences are created. Again, because of the confusion of my system and how, I've been helping test and do other things, I need to confirm that some of these are the right things. But you can see the basic idea of adding the commands for the devices that you need, adding some delays, and doing this. And there we go. That's all. That is not all. Here's another thing that you want to do. Because I will also have watch Apple TV and watch Blu-ray as other activities, and they're all taking place in the same room and using a lot of the same components. If I don't set these up in a way that if I'm watching Kaleidescape and then I go directly to watch Apple TV, if I just did it this way, all the Kaleidescape stuff would stay on, and it would just also add the Apple TV activity. But if I create an activity group, which I just call Othello Cinema, I was an arty guy at some point, and I like using all lowercase for whatever reason. Turn off unused entities always, okay? So because I am creating this activity group, done, now I have a group of all the activities that occur in the theater with these same group of devices. So now when and you can add things or, to an activity group here. So now if I want, get my Apple TV activity built, and if I'm watching Kaleidescape and then I want to flip over and watch Apple TV, and I start the Apple TV integration, it will, if it will, excuse me, it will know, okay, projector's already on, skip it. And I can skip the delay if there's a delay right after that one, because it's already on, it's already there, and the delay to wait for it to turn on is gone. But then it will also turn off unused entities. So when I move over to Apple TV, it will know, oh, we can turn the Kaleidescape off now. So that's nice for that, and it just saves a little energy and saves a few hours on some of your devices. So that is really about it. Oh, customize my remote. So this is still what's showing up when I pick up the remote. So I need to make sure that I can do something with it. So I'm going to call this Othello, like my other one. And for the image, I like setting, oh, wait. Othello. Okay. So we're going to add a group. No. We're going to add an entity. Watch Kaleidescape. So this is the activity for Watch Kaleidescape. So I'm going to add that. And now when I click Watch Kaleidescape, it will then go to the remote that we just built for the activity. It will bring this up. Okay, so you have to tell your remote what to put on the home screen as well. I would like to add a background. Do I have it in my handy dandy folder? It looks like I don't. Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward here. Okay, so this isn't the best background image because it's a white screen, but I wanted to just show, I'll change this out later, but I wanted to just show you can add custom background screen here so that you can have that. So now I'm going to add another page to the remote, and this one I call remotes. And this, we're going to add the theater remote, and we're going to add the that's the activity. Let's see. One of these is a remote, and I named them both the same, so I'm not sure which one, but I'm going to add, basically, you add all of your remotes to that page, and now you basically, when you pick up your remote, you'll have two different screens. You can swipe between these. You can have your activities, which is my main startup, but then also remotes. So if you do need to dig in deep, if you're in the middle of an activity, you're on the Kaleidescape, and you really do need to dig in something a little deeper, then you can go into, you click your home button, which is there. You click home button and you swipe over to the remotes page, and you can go deeper into the remotes. So what do those look like? If we go entities, external remotes, this will be a good example. So the Kaleidescape has its own remote. So, and actually I'm gonna add, I can't add the media player there. Interesting. The Lumagen this integration, when John is building these integrations, he's actually creating the remote for you and essentially adding all of the commands in order to make it so that the exact Lumagen remote is already there and available when you install the integration. It has all the different buttons programmed, ready to go. So by adding that second page here, it gives me really quick access to the full remote, not just what I've cherry picked for the activity. So I fired up the activity, and I did find a couple of those, like the Kaleidescape, where there were multiple turn on commands. I had to switch a couple of those out to get it up and running, but everything's working well, except I also forgot to discuss the dock. You need to make sure that your dock is connected. Mine actually was not. I hadn't gotten it connected to the remote when I set it up yesterday, but I've got it set up now, and you can see here what it will look like. It will show up under your integrations. You can click on docks, and it's right here. I actually have one of each. I ordered an extra one because I got a free one, and I got one of each color so I could see what the other finish looked like. But anyway, I don't have it set up on Wi-Fi because I don't need it set up on Wi-Fi. I'm going to be running it on Ethernet, but you can also obviously add it. Again, like I noted at the beginning, the dock is 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi only, so you'll need to make sure that you're connecting to a 2.4 network and not your 5 gigahertz or whatever else you might be running. I've connected the IR blaster because I do need to use that for a few extra commands on the Storm, where the Home Assistant integration has a conflict in there where if you turn it down to 0, which would theoretically indicate muted volume level at 0 on the remote, the Storm looks at 0 and says that's 0 dB, and it turns it pretty much all the way up. So be careful if you're using the Storm Audio Home Assistant integration. I've mentioned that to Storm, and they're looking into how they can fix it on their end, even though theoretically it's an error within the integration itself, I believe. But anyway, I have the IR blaster that comes packaged with the dock connected here, and I need to make sure that my Storm Audio remote is sending out through the dock 3. That, see, when I first tried to do this, it was saying no options available because I hadn't connected the remote to the dock via the network. They weren't paired, basically. So now the dock shows up here, and I always just leave it on all outputs. That way it will go through the blaster. It will go through any other repeater that you have connected. It will go through all of the IR ports on the dock. But obviously, if you want, you can start specifying. I only have one device plugged in. I'm guessing if I plug in this other little guy, it would also show up as extension 1. So you can configure those. These are also configurable to RS-232 control configuration, but I'm not going to mess with that. One other quick note I was going to just mention, in my power on sequence, when I had the Kaleidescape, the incorrect item in here, I had, like, it was called power on, and it was not doing it. And then there's a power on for the theater remote, there's a power on for the Kaleidescape integration, and we needed to use switch on and switch off. when there's an easy way to troubleshoot. If you create an activity and you get an error message when you first try to start up that activity, it tells you on the remote screen which step caused it to abort the error. For me, it was, step 2 error, fatal error, or whatever it said. And I cleared that message. I came in here, I tried one of the other one. And then when you click to run the activity again, if it's kind of in that half started state, basically my projector was on and it hit step 2 and it aborted because that was an incorrect command and it said problem with step 2. I tried something else on step 2. I restart the activity. It knows the projector's on. It got an error on step 2 again. So I again swapped out for the final option, cleared the error, clicked, started up the activity again, and it then made it all the way through, and now everything is up and running properly. So another little helpful troubleshooting is when it gives you that error message, look at and see what step is giving you the error message. If it had said step 4, it would have been a problem with this command. So always good to know how to troubleshoot quickly and efficiently and read the clues that they're giving to you. Okay, well, that did take a little bit longer than I had anticipated. But again, the first one, getting things in there and getting things configured, it's always the toughest. And there are a few small differences about this. I'm also trying some new integrations. I'd love to get to a point where I could clear out a lot of the stuff that's populating from Home Assistant, which I think I'll be able to soon enough. The community of developers building custom integrations for this is growing, and there are a lot more people that are about to get their hands on this remote. So those custom integrations will keep coming in as more people get access to the remote and start building their own. But I'm excited to finish up this remote. I'm going to do some more digging and get the proper password off of the JVC and some things like that. But I think what we've done here today can get you a really good basic idea of how to get up and running with the remote. You want to really gather all of the stuff that you want and look for those integrations in the unfolded circle community integrations, or the ones that come pre-installed with the remote. That's always going to be your best, most powerful option and cleanest option. From there, you'll want to maybe look at Home Assistant. One thing I guess I didn't mention in there is all of the Home Assistant stuff that was coming in that wasn't in a media player, like the lighting, those direct lighting scenes. Those you have to, in Home Assistant, you have to create an entity and make that available to the unfolded circle Home Assistant integration, and then you will be able to add them into the remote. So those have to be created as scripts. So you have to create a script for things that aren't included in an actual media player or remote. A lot of those things that were popping up that had custom names, those were scripts that I made that basically that script becomes a button when I bring it in and assign it to something on the screen or a physical button. So that's one thing to keep in mind, if you've got a bunch of stuff in Home Assistant that you're not seeing as available in the remote, you may need to write a script that sends the command to do XYZ and then bring the script in instead of the command that you want to activate or to access. I guess I didn't talk about that as I was going through it because everything I want from Home Assistant should theoretically already be available because I've done it with the remote too. So let's pick it up. You can see here that I have my activity page here that has Watch Kaleidescape on it, and if I swipe, it is my remotes. And if I tap on the theater remote, tap on the Radiance Pro, you can see it has the screen all laid out, just swiping between all of the different screens. The buttons are programmed, works really, really slick. So, and again, just pressing the home button will take you back to this page. So if you're in an activity and it has that custom remote, the custom interface that you've built in the web browser, and you want to get and dig into the full remote, if you need to access something, just press home, come back to this screen, and select the remote from your list here. So yeah, that's going to be it for today. I'm going to dig in and get this figured out the rest of the way and see what we can do. But tomorrow, big day, Storm Audio remote calibration on the ISR Fusion 20. So make sure you've liked and subscribed to that so that you can find out when that video is live and see what that process is like and get my reaction to how much better they're able to do from somewhere else in the world than I am at calibrating the system from right here in the room with it. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching.